Hey everybody, welcome back to Cookies Under Quarantine. This week's episode is going to be fun, I think. As I was starting this exercise with the cookies and the fabric and the liquor pairings, part of my inspiration was from the Girl Scout song that talks about making new friends but keeping the old, and I was thinking about that in the context of fabrics and pairing some of our brand new items with some items that have been in the collection a bit longer. And ironically enough, this week's collection is very largely focused on more venerable items in the line. Just kind of the way the cookie crumbled, so to speak, as I was pulling these. It turns out though it's actually really wildly appropriate to this particular cookie because it was introduced in 1939. So this is an old friend. If you're looking at my scarf and thinking that that is a really minty selection, you'd be right. This is Thin Mints, Girl Scout Thin Mints, and like I said, they've been in the line since 1939, which is actually really cool given their continued popularity. I guess if you get it right, you get it right. So we'll come back to the cookies, but let's take a look at some Thin Mint inspired fabric boards. So here first, we have on the far side is a wall covering with the triangles on it that you see, that's Triad. In the middle, there are two upholstery vinyls. The green on top is Silverado, and then underneath that is Glam. If you've never looked at Glam up close, I would really encourage it. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it, so that in the really bright saturated colors, it's got a lot of bling. But in the more neutral colors, it's very subtle. It acts almost like a very refined piece of jewelry for your furniture, which I totally dig. On top, we have Hush, which I know most of you guys have seen, but if you haven't, it is a wool blend, kind of a felted texture to it. In the 30s, it's a fantastic value proposition, but looks, you know, very elevated. So down here, we have Crescendo, and to my closest selection is to your left, is Sonata Stripe. These two are officially paired together as a collection and are part of a Sunbrella collection. So again, terrific choices if you're in an area where you're getting a lot of light gain. Separating those two is Palatine, which is a Krypton that I refer back to all the time. It has got a boatload of colorways, which is obviously very convenient. It's at a great price point. It's moisture barrier. It's just kind of a very pretty little workhorse. So that is our first board. Let's take a look at this fun guy. This is a more vibrant take on the green, obviously. On the right is Square One, which is an item that you actually saw last week. You might remember it with the Do-Si-Dos. It was just a different colorway. On the top here is a series. This is all upholstery vinyl at the top. The light blue one is brand new. It's Ambiance. And to its right is Insight. The following four colorways are actually Illusion colorways. Just a side note, Insight and Illusion have such a similar texture, and frankly, both of those patterns have a ton of colorways, so I think it's highly likely that you would find the color that you needed anyway within one pattern, but if you didn't and you had to kind of punt to a second pattern, they're so close texturally that you could get away with that. So, coming closer to me, we have Tybal, which I think is beautiful. I think the interplay of these rhythms is really fun. And then Tybal with Burkina, which is actually part of the same official collection. And then I'm gonna lean in a little bit so you can see Rogue, which is the solid in the middle. It's just a lovely little Krypton texture that's a workhorse and just got a, you know, kind of nice, architectural feel to it. So I love these. I'm going to prop this here for a second and show an additional solid called Kowloon. So this is actually a companion to the collection that has Tybal. And I think you could use this to introduce some fun pops of color. This particular pattern has a ton of colorways too. So if you needed a solid texture in the zone, it's a great go-to pattern. If you can't really get enough of the green, you could still do that. Although I'm a big fan of the accent punch on the right-hand side. Anyway, so I think this is a very fun board and leads us handily into the really fun part, which is the cookie liquor thing. So, okay, we're going back to the cookies and revisiting those. Our pairing with this, I will tell you that this was wildly popular, and amongst the friends that tried this with me, it was the winner of the night. Everybody loved it. It was the hands down favorite by a long shot. And the pairing is with something called Miu Creamy Cocoa Cappuccino. So, I will note, this is gonna be challenging, but I'm super proud of myself, so you get to watch. Going back to our first board, let me tell you something about this exercise. It is not always easy to get the cookies. You can match the cookies to the fabric, but getting the fabric and the cookies and the liquor to all match together is a task. But ta-da! Let's see if you can see it. Yes. Okay, yay. Look at that. We are pretty darn close there. I'm very proud of myself. So anyway, let's get back to talking about the Miu so that I can share a little bit of information about it with you. It's actually kind of interesting. It is a wine liqueur kind of thing. They refer to it as a wine cocktail. The color of it looks a lot like a very lightly chocolated milk chocolate, and the mouthfeel on it is a little teeny bit heavier. It's kind of in between a chocolate milk and what a Bailey's would kind of feel like in your mouth. So it's sort of an in-between thing. Ironically, it tastes to me a little bit like a Bailey's, but I will caution you in advance, do not think you can switch to the Bailey's with the Thin Mint cookies. I tried it in our testing process and it was repellent, so skip that. Stick with the Miu and the Thin Mints. It's a delicious combination together. I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you next week with the next installment. Got 2 more fabulous cookies coming your way. Bye.